I don't know if you caught all the details because the reading this morning opened up in the middle of a story, but it is one of the biggest showdowns of the entire Old Testament, and it's one of my favorite stories. So let's set up the scene. All of God's people, the Israelites, they have a king. His name is Ahab. He marries somebody who's not from Israel. She's from a pagan Gentile country. She does not worship the God of Israel. She has her own idols that she worships. And in that marriage, she is the stronger personality. So what she does is she really builds up a religious foundation among all the people in their territory that they have to worship this false god Baal. Now, for the average person living in a home and just working a job or going to school or whatever, you don't really want to find yourselves locking heads with the queen because you might die. So people just start leaving the God of Israel to join her religion and to offer sacrifices to this false god. So many people leave. All of the prophets of Israel leave that the only one left is Elijah. And there's been this tension back and forth. Elijah going out and telling people, you need to come back to the one true God. You have to come back to the one true God. And this queen, she doesn't like him. She doesn't like him at all. He's bothersome. So then they set up this epic showdown. So what we heard this morning was a huge showdown. There's 450 prophets of Baal who worship the false god. And there's the one Elijah. And they have a contest. Elijah says, here's the deal. Here's the rules of the game. You guys set up an altar to your God, and you put a sacrifice on that altar, and if fire comes down and your God consumes that sacrifice, which is a sign that your God is real and has accepted it, then everybody who's watching, and imagine the size of the crowds, like literally all of Israel is gathered there, then you go ahead, you worship that God. But I'm going to set up an altar to the God of Israel, to the God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. And I'm going to set up my sacrifice. And so what happens is it's like Luke Skywalker versus 450 stormtroopers. There's all these prophets, they're slashing, they're gashing, they're crying out to God, and nothing's happening. And he's roasting them. He's like, oh, maybe he's sleeping. Maybe your God is in the bathroom. How come he's not answering you? And then they're doing everything they can, and after hours and hours and hours, nothing happens. Elijah, because remember, the sacrifice has to be consumed by fire. Just to make it even tougher, he starts pouring water on the wood and on the stone, and the water is so thick there's even a moat around the sacrifice. Now, how many of you have ever seen soaking wet wood actually burn? It can't. It's impossible. So he's created a situation that's impossible for him to win. And in one moment, where these guys took hours, in one moment he calls upon the God of Israel, and fire from heaven comes down so fierce, it consumes the water, it consumes the wood, it consumes the stone, it consumes the sacrifice, and all is obliterated. And then all the people of Israel who've been caught in between these two things are shocked, and finally, they profess that the God of Israel is the true God. They finally give their hearts to the Lord. It's awesome. Now, why am I unpacking all of this for you? Is because I think it speaks to a desire we all have. Don't we just want the God who's kind of hidden behind the veil to come breaking through to prove to everybody else in our life that what we profess to believe really is real? And surely we think if he did something as dramatic as that, then everybody would have a change of heart, and this spiritual life wouldn't be so difficult all the time. I mean, adults, right? Sounds kind of convincing, doesn't it? Here's the problem. Those same people at that miracle, within days, not even a whole week, within days, go back to worshiping a false god. Because it's tough. Because remember, the queen doesn't support this. So even though God has proven miraculously that he is real, other circumstances, other pressures in their life ultimately take the day. So God knows miracles aren't all that we think they're going to be. Jesus will say that in the gospel. He'll say, even if someone was to rise from the dead, they wouldn't believe. And he can say that because he rose from the dead, appeared to 500 people, and still wasn't believed. So where do we go from here? What Elijah ultimately experiences in his life, he leaves that dramatic scene behind. And God says to Elijah, I want to reveal myself to you. And Elijah looks for God in the booming of a volcano, in the roar of a mighty wind, in the clashing and tumbling of rocks. All the dramatic stuff that so often we're looking for, and God doesn't reveal himself that way. When Elijah actually encounters the living God, it's a quiet whisper. And when that whisper comes, he falls to his knees and he worships. God is always revealing himself. He's always giving himself. But he prefers not to give himself in the extraordinary because it only attracts the kind of people who want to see a magic show, not the kind of people who are ready for love. This whole year, you have worked so hard on all of your studies. You've practiced, in addition to your academic exercises, the cultivation of virtues. You've pondered what the Beatitudes mean and tried to figure out how to live those things in your life. All of these things are meant to equip you so that as you yourselves step forward into a relationship with God, you are not making the same mistake as so many others along the way have done, which is to look for him in a place that he's not revealing himself. Instead, we are taught to look for him where he is revealing himself. So where is that? It's in the quiet whisper of the scriptures when we sit down and actually give our full attention to him. It's in the space that we create for encounter when we actually dedicate time to pray and put our screens down. It's when we come to Mass on Sunday and sit where you're sitting now as he gives himself in the Word and he gives himself in the sacrament. It's when we ponder sacred images like the crucifix and God starts nudging our hearts. It's in the moral decisions that we make when we're attracted to the good and we feel this nudge inside of us pushing us to do the right thing. Or when we make a bad decision, it's that part of us that says, I wish I hadn't done that. That wasn't a good choice. Those are the spaces in which God is speaking. And so here's what I want to challenge you to do. I don't want you to treat your relationship with God as if it only exists from September until June. I want you to live out what you have learned this whole year over the summer. I'm going to ask you, in fact, to make a commitment every day. Try to read one chapter from the gospel. Just one chapter a day, so that each day there's at least 5 to 10 minutes of your life that you are carving out for an encounter with the living God, the God who loves you, the God who made you, and the God who will call you to himself each day of your life so that you can be with him forever in the life to come. Sound like a deal? Yeah? Okay. All right. Enjoy your summer. Say hi to Sky before you leave, okay? She's in her yard. She's looking for you guys. And if you see any of your teachers or me over the summer, make sure to say hi because we're thinking about you and we're praying for you, all right? Amen? Amen.